Alright, so in the previous video, we actually looked at user enumeration attacks. And I know that this might sound boring when you look at it the first time, but it actually isn't. It can lead, not in of itself, but combined with other attacks, to serious damage, such as taking over other users' accounts by actually brute forcing for their passwords. So, what are some ways to avoid user enumeration? If an attacker can probe your site to test whether a username exists, it gives them a leg up in trying to hack your users' accounts. So, what's the risk? The prevalence for this one is very common. For example, in the 50 plus pen tests that I've done in 2022, I've seen this a lot. Exploitability is easy and impact is much more than worrying, I would say. Allowing enumeration of usernames is not a vulnerability in of itself, but in tandem with other types of vulnerabilities like ability to brute force login, it will compromise the security of your users. Now, how to protect against this? When it comes to login, make sure to return a generic message, but not this one. So invalid credentials would be the one. Make sure the HTTP response and the time taken to respond are no different when a username does not exist and an incorrect password is entered. So we talked about this in the previous video. When it comes to password resets, make sure your forgotten password does not reveal usernames, and make sure also to have a generic message when the user or someone has inputted a username or an email. If your password reset process involves sending an email, have the user enter their email address. Then send an email with the password reset link if the account exists. So I've told you the generic message here should be, if there is an account associated with this email address, an email has been sent with a reset link. And that should be the generic message for all the cases, for all the inputs. Now, when it comes to registration pages, avoid having your site tell people that a supplied username is already taken. And if your username or email address is, send a password reset if a user tries to sign up with an existing email address. If usernames are not email address, you should protect sign up page with some sort of a CAPTCHA. When it comes to profile pages, as we've seen in the example, if the users have profile pages, make sure they are only visible to other users who are already signed in. Now, this in of itself isn't a measure of protection, because a malicious attacker can sign up with an account, with a legit account, and then use their own session tokens to actually look for other users in an authenticated way. So this is actually, it's very hard to protect against that in this sort of a situation. If you hide the profile page, ensure a hidden profile is indistinguishable from a non-existing profile. So this is actually it for user enumeration. It's actually it's very hard to protect against it completely, and I've seen a lot of situations when things go wrong. Let's actually look at the quiz. Why should you avoid user enumeration in your code base? They open the door to brute force attacks. User enumeration vulnerabilities to circumvent your login screen. Circumvent, what do they actually want to say here? Circumvent. Bypass. Alright, so this was it for user enumeration. Now, as I said, next we're going to look into information leakage, and I'm very excited about that.